This is from the first chapter of a story I'm working on. It's called The City Eternal. Chapter 1. I've not had a vision. This fact used to bother me when I was younger, but now that I am 17 and am going to graduate in a few days, I could not care less. I could complain and bemoan the fact that I am one of the unlucky ones, and annoy everyone with said moaning. Or I could smile, remind myself that I live in the greatest nation on earth, Zebra Nation, and just get on with my life. Anywhere else I would be discarded, but in Zebra Nation, I will be taken care of my whole life, regardless of my credentials, accomplishments, or in my case, lack thereof. I'm out of breath. Here I am on the crest of a hill, the morning dew still lighting up the ferns, my legs aching and heavy, my eyes burning from the sweat dripping from my unkempt hair. The ferns are intertwining and dancing with English ivy to make a bridge over the chasm below. I tell myself that I do not have time to dally. Just keep moving and try not to look down, I tell myself. I can hear the laughs and cheers of my classmates ahead of me. Someone up ahead is singing. I wheeze and curse at them as I claw at the bridge of ivy. In my haste, I burn my hands when I run them along the vines. 1,000 small insects come and tend to my wound. A familiar laugh comes from up ahead. Are you still trying to do this all yourself? The voice asks. I force a smile. I guess I am, Zephyr, but in my defense, I can't talk to the animals like most of you all, I say. I say. So why not just use an iku? Zephyr asks. He stares at me blankly, stupidly. Oh gee, I don't know, I almost yell, but since I am gasping for breath, it just comes out as a wheeze. Maybe it's because I can't talk to animals, I say. Zephyr smiles. I'm sorry, Cloud. Even when you tell me you can't talk to animals, I forget. It's so weird. His smile dissipates any tension, any animosity I had. It's one of his tricks. One I wish I had. Even when I'm trying to be kind to others, to put up a good front, I have a tendency to repel them. Zephyr whistles loudly, and a tall, muscular, antelope-like creature appears from out of the mist and forest. His back is soft like a saddle. I jump on. Thank you, I say to Zephyr. Zephyr smiles. I'm not just doing this for you, cloudy sky. We all want to graduate sometime this moon, not next season. I nod. I try to force a laugh, but it comes out all weird and fake, and I'm glad he didn't hear me. I just ride behind him, trying to be invisible. I'm used to being invisible. I'm used to being the slowest one on the team, and I don't want to be any more of a burden. So what are you doing after graduation? I ask. Zephyr smiles. Nothing much, he tells me, trying to dodge the question. He bounds off on muscular legs, and my iku follows. Oh, come on, I want to know. You always have such interesting stories, I say. Like the time you ran across the East Forest in a blizzard. How did you do that? He laughs. A genuine laugh. Mostly I just watched the moon, he says. The moon told me what the blizzard was going to be like. The bears I saw led me to an herb that kept me warm. The prints I saw in the snow along the way told me the best path. It was all fairly elementary. Ah yes, elementary, I say, trying not to sound too sarcastic or jealous. So about after graduation? Well, Zephyr says, I didn't want to say anything, but you're like a bird that never forgets. I'm not doing that much, though. Just me and some of the other runners are going to the Overlook to hang out. Oh wow, I say, can I come? It's been a while since we really hung out, and I hear the Overlook is quite amazing at sunset. Zephyr smiles that same brilliant smile, but he looks away. I don't know if the others would, he starts. Oh, I say, understanding. They don't want me. I stare absent-mindedly at the tree houses and dense, lush forests as we pass them and get lost in thought as the living forest passes by. I'm sorry, he says, but maybe next time. Yeah, maybe next time, I say. We both know there won't be a next time. But I don't think of that, I don't say that. I don't think about the vast emptiness of my life that lies ahead of me. I don't say a word, I just hold tight to the iku. I hear the laughter of 100 teenagers, all giddy as they run ahead of us. I try to laugh again and stop because it's obvious again how forced it is. So I just stare out at the living forest again, the mountains, and then breathe in the mist of waterfalls as we go past them. Life is good, isn't it, Cloud? Zephyr says. It kind of is, I say. And I mean it. We all crest another hill. The path the vines make dances along the tree's canopy before delving back underground. Gems and fireflies dimly light up the cavern we dive into. I close my eyes as the echo descends, wanting to savor the magic when we come out the other side. I've seen the graduation race, the homecoming race, at least 8 times. I was sick often as a child. And the ornate tapestries and decorations that made up the reception area, made by both animals, plants, and humans, always amazed me. The food, perfect blends of berries, greens, and grains, cooked and gathered and given freely by all manner of plants and animals, really made this a special occasion, even though animal help was far from unusual. I could hear the high-pitched calls of green birds, the whines of wild ekus, the sighing of whistle trees, and the soft hum of men playing on harpsophones. Us soon-to-be graduates all emerged out of the cave into an arena, 1,000 people cheering, lost my place. The overseer announcing the winner of the homecoming race from the top of a perch, in front of the stand where the crowd was. The crowd cheered, not loudly, but deafeningly. And in first place, the short man bellowed, "Bright Star!" The audience erupted, and Bright raised his arms as he ran by. He slowed down, and we all slowed down beside him. We all smiled, and one by one we hugged him. This took a while. There were words. There was congratulations. There was laughter. The overseer then came down and crowned him. The crown, upon reaching his head, sent forth vines that encircled his body, creating a beautiful, ornate green and gold suit, shoes, and cape. "Enjoy your year off," Zephyr said. "We will be waiting for you come next spring." Bright smiled and then led us all in a marching dance that began the festivities. We danced. The overseer talked again. Something about the greatness of Zebra Nation and how much he envied our youth. I wasn't listening, but as I looked over at my classmates, some talking, some laughing, it became obvious not many were listening. Then finally it came. One by one he called us down to his perch, handed us our papers, our graduation papers, and said a few good words about each of us. To each and every one of us. I waited patiently. I was the last of 345 students. "Cloudy sky," he called, smiling. I walked on stage, trying to fake confidence. He handed me my papers and smiled. I paused. "Aren't you going to say anything?" I asked. He smiled broadly and through gritted teeth. In a whisper asked, "And what would you have me say, cloudy sky?" I think the less I say, the better. My face turns red. I thank him, and I nearly trip as I rush off the stage. My hands tremble, and I walk around in circles as the crowd disperses. A squirrel hands me a cup of wine, my first and certainly not my last. It helps the shaking. The music starts, and it is beyond beautiful. The evening is beyond perfect, and all of the people stand and chat or dance in their cliques. I soak it all up, but from the outside it gets quite boring quite fast. So I then go back to a table in the back, away from the lush canopy and in a quiet hole in the rhododendrons where my only family waits. "Hello, Father," I say. I've graduated. He smiles. He says nothing for a while, then clears his throat. So what's next? He asks. I don't know, I tell him. It's not like I had my vision while holding on for dear life on the back of an eku. I wish I could take you into my work, have you as an apprentice, he said. That's how it was done in the old days. And do you think I could be a builder like you? I ask. My father laughs. No, but you definitely aren't a but you definitely aren't a whisperer or a seer. I know he's just trying to be kind, but his words sting. He senses my unease and puts a hand on my shoulder. My boy, he says, do not fret. The old days were so much cruder, so much worse. The visions we have now know so much more than we do. You weren't meant to be a builder, or much of anything. But it's okay. We'll take care of you. I smile. I thank him for his kind words and tell him I'm tired and I'm going home. Aren't you and some of your friends doing anything after graduation? Any shenanigans? He asks. I look at him deadpan, then turn to walk out. It's a long walk back to my home. I don't mind though. Gives me time to plan my future, I guess. I walk for a while, look back at the crowd, now as small as mice. It's not so bad that Zephyr didn't invite me, I tell myself. I need sleep more than excitement anyway. Still, I stand, watching the party for a good 10 minutes. It's blurry being so far away, and I can't be sure, but as I watch, I swear, I see the queen, luscious Copperhead, chatting it up and dancing with the crowd. Then she notices me and seems to stare right at me with a piercing gaze that makes me turn away. I have to be imagining things, I tell myself. There's no way she can see me this far away. Despite what my logical mind tells me, I can't muster up the courage to look again, and so I walk the rest of the way home. It's an amazing treehouse, our home is, with firefly lights and beaverwood beams, but it's just like the 1,000 other tree houses that line my street. I go in, fall into my bed, and sleep overcomes me immediately. So that's what I'm working on, the first chapter. I'm sorry you have to look at my face. I don't have anything else prepared. And if you listen, thank you. And let me know any feedback you have. That's just the first chapter. It's kind of a young adult novel. You might be able to guess somehow where this is going. The main character, cloudy sky, begins kind of enamored with this ecotopian zebra nation, slowly finds out the corruption, finds out that there's also an alpha nation, and finds out that that's not quite perfect either. And they're both kind of ideologically opposed. And it's really about trying to find some sort of balance and peace between them. And, you know, as a story, it's a metaphor for, the world we live in. Anyway, sorry, I don't do these things very often. I hope this was not terrible. Okay. Thank you.